I was gonna wear an ugly Christmas sweater, and then I saw him, and I was like, he wins.
A lovely young lady was wearing this sweater. I was like, I want it. Trade. She's like, what? I'll trade you my shirt for your sweater.
She took that thing off so fast.
I think I got the better end of the bargain because this is amazing.
Yeah, I was like, you have to just never take that off. Right here.
At a previous con, you made some comment about thinking of doing Lonesome Dove. Have you given any more thought to that?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think it's just one of those lofty things that sounds like a great idea, but no, there's been no pen to paper yet.
I just wondered if that idea was still alive, that's all.
It's not dead.
Yeah.
And even if it's dead, I mean, we're not the Lose Chesters. We come back to
Question maybe for Jensen. When you were on Big Sky, did you ever get a chance to sing with Reba or do any jam sessions when it didn't become
So yeah, one time, I mean, she and I didn't work together a whole lot. We kind of had separate storylines, but we did overlap one day, and it was a night shoot. It was really cold that night, and while they were setting up for another shot, we were sitting around the heaters and stuff in our cast chairs, and I was like, you know, this was my first time that I kind of had her, you know, to myself. So I was like, you know, let's see. It's like I have so many questions I could ask her, but one, I said, you know, I got to tell you, my favorite song of yours is How Blue. And if you guys have never heard the song, it's a great song, but there's a person that sings harmony in that song, and I was like, I gotta ask, is that you singing the harmony on top of the melody? And she goes, fun fact for you, that's actually my sister. I was like, what? And then she goes in and tells me this whole thing about where they recorded it. It was outside Nashville in some like renovated church or something that was a studio. And anyway, we got into this conversation, and then just out of nowhere, she's like, here, you sing the harmony, I'll sing the melody. And we just started singing, and I was so nervous, I think I didn't hit one note right. So yeah, she's as charming and as lovely as you would hope her to be, and that was a moment that I really cherish.
That's amazing.
Actually, in that, I think it was that same day, we were shooting it during the day, and it's when our characters meet for the first time, and I reach out my hand and I say, hey, Bo Arlen, and she says, Sonny, what's her last name, the character's last name? Sonny Barnes, that's right. She's like, you know, hi, Sonny Barnes. Well, on like the fourth take, we kind of flubbed a line or something like that. The director just says, just go back to the handshake. And so I'm like, okay. I'm like, how you doing? Sheriff Bo Arlen. And she goes, hi, Reba McEntire. And there was like just a quick pause, and everybody was like, no, I don't think that's the one. And she goes, oh, shit. She's awesome.
I use it.
Are we already doing dad jokes?
We're already doing dad jokes. Yeah, it's never
well, in that case. A gingerbread man went to the doctors complaining of a sore knee. A sore knee, the doctor said. Have you tried icing it? I think if anything, it would be just maybe an elevated gore version of Supernatural. There was a lot of, like, I don't think necessarily, you know, more colorful language or, you know, more skin or anything like that. I don't think that would really benefit the story necessarily. But I think what we could and couldn't show in regards to scare and blood and you know, that kind of stuff, we had to temper that. So I think maybe we'd probably elevate that to an extent if we were on a you know, on a network or a streamer that allowed that to happen where there weren't standards and practices. But there were, like, we pushed the envelope. The writers definitely pushed the envelope. Like, one thing I remember is we couldn't say prick but we could say Dick. So they wrote an entire season with a guy named Dick Roman, just so we could hammer that home. And I think that was...
We're going to say hammered as well.
That's right. So it was, like Jared said, there were ways of trying to, push the envelope a bit with staying in the parameters that we had to, and those guidelines. And I think that as a show that was on a broadcast network, we probably took a little bit more of a risk and took some chances, more so than I think most network shows. And I think that was exciting for us. But I think if there were no parameters and we were able to do just whatever we wanted to, I'm not sure it would be that much different, because I don't know that it would serve the story as well.
Yeah.
How do you guys, after something with so much energy, how do you manage some self-care and love on your mental health after these?
Yeah, I think just finding those moments, for me, I don't necessarily have to carve out a specific thing or time or activity in order to, better myself. I just kind of quickly grab what, every morning I get up and I take our dog for a walk before anybody wakes up in the house. 6 a.m. I'm up, and it's largely before the sun comes out. And so I'm walking in the dark with the dog, and I take him down the street, and I just kind of let my brain do nothing, look for the deer, look for the birds that are starting to chirp, watch the sun slowly come up. And it's in that moment, I don't have to do that. I can just wake up when everybody else does and let the dog out. He knows how to come back. I think. But it's just a little thing for me that I enjoy doing. Now, my wife would be like, it'd be nice if you didn't wake me up when you get up every morning 45 minutes early. But it is just something, and it's those little things. It's, outside playing with the kids, and then just standing on the back porch and watching them run around and just looking out, and, I think appreciating those moments when they do arise kind of just calms my brain. That's what I do.
What do you most want to be remembered for? Or in other words, if your eulogy could only be 3 sentences, what would they be?
Being a light.
No, inspirational.
Being a light.
A light?
Being a light.
I was going to say my big forehead.
Being a light and being my bounce.
So bounce is the term we use in filming where
Bounce the light.
you don't want direct light on somebody because it just washes them out. So you'll shoot direct light at something and bounce it onto the subject you're...
For 15 years, I never needed bounces because I just worked opposite him.
So I would just angle my head. I stay here. You're looking good, dude.
Serge, our DP on Supernatural, he, and most DPs do this. They'll come in to the set and they'll be doing and they're just checking for shadows or light, and Serge would often just do this. Let's turn that down.
Yeah.
A light meter. No, to be serious, I think if I could just be remembered as somebody who brought positivity to the world in some way, shape, or form, and it maybe inspired one person to be a better person, and I think then I'm happy.
Yeah, he is. We all know that.
It makes me think of a quick story I'll share with you, and I think I shared this recently, but I recently met Carrie Elwes.
Yeah, Ellis, yeah.
Who was Wesley's bride and Princess Bride.
And Men in Tights.
And Men in Tights. Robin Hood, Men in Tights, great movie. And I had to share with him, I was like, hey, I posted this video a few years back of me sitting on the couch with my daughter explaining the story of Princess Bride while we were watching it. And I was like, I gotta say that was such a special memory for me, and like meeting you now, it's like, I just love that movie. I think it's amazing. My daughter still watches it to this day. And I was like, I'm sure you get sick of this because I'm sure people tell you their Princess Bride stories all the time. He's like, no. He's like, it is the gift that keeps on giving. In fact, on my tombstone, it'll probably read,
As you
mostly
wish.
dead. He's not dead, he's mostly dead.
Mostly dead.
If y'all had to pick y'all's funniest moment on set, whether it was a prank or just a scene that went awry, what would it be?
Jeez.
There's a lot. There was, I mean, it's funny in hindsight. I will say we were laughing at the time, but when Kim Manners pranked us by having us, we climbed down into a manhole, and it was a set piece, so it wasn't real, so there was nothing at the bottom. It was just a built-up manhole that went down maybe, 14, 15 feet. And so, who went first? It was me.
You did.
So I go down, and there's nowhere to go. It's just the bottom of the
Hey, didn't I have a broken hand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the chair goes down. And so we're just on this ladder, like waiting for the BL cut so we can climb back up and out. And then here come 2 5-gallon buckets of ice water. Just. And luckily he was above me, so he took the lion's share of it. But I just remember you, through the laughter, you were like, "You mother!"
Oh my God, honestly, this is another funny part of that story, is that I have a cast. So
But you're not supposed to get wet.
And so I was like,
Kim didn't care.
I'm laughing. He's like, don't worry, we have an appointment for you tomorrow to get a new cast.
The producer, one of the producers, Cyrus, he came down. Everybody knew it was happening, except us, obviously. And I just gotten like a new phone. It was like it was an iPhone. It was an iPhone. It was a new iPhone. Yeah. And this was back when iPhones actually first came out, guys. That's how long ago that was. And he comes over and he's like, "Hey, can I let me see this new phone that you got?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So I take it out. He was just getting it out of my pocket. And then he was like, "Oh, they need you in a sec. Go ahead. I'm just gonna play around." I was like, "Okay, yeah. Don't change any of the settings, all right?" And then I go off, and thankfully he knew I was about to get soaked.
Yeah,
Anyway,
good times.
Many of those moments on set. I think it's one of the reasons why we loved doing the show as long as we did, is because there was never a dull day. We love it. We look back on it very fondly, and thank you for being here so we can share these stories with you guys.
Thank y'all.